Any unhealthy patterns we have picked up, whether it's an addiction, disassociation, poor attitude, or behavior, it was all picked up as a way to protect ourselves or to deal with the pressures of life. As humans, we experience a lot of situations or events that shifts and changes our way of being. But when the events are so stressful or horrific, it affects how we may perceive the world, our sense of safety, and overall well being. This is trauma. Whether we experience one single traumatic event, such as an accident, assault, or natural disaster, or a repeated exposure to traumatic events such as abuse, domestic violence, neglect, or bullying, it sticks with you. It is something that you could never forget, but the inability to deal with such trauma could significantly impact your life in a negative way. Most trauma comes from experiences from our childhood, but trauma at any age becomes integrated in who we are. But as a child, you are more vulnerable and more susceptible to more traumatic events because you are codependent on others and are easily trusting in your caretakers. It is your caretakers who are supposed to help mold you and give you useful tools to be successful in life and protect you from harm. But instead, it could be our caretakers that does the most damage to us that we carry for the rest of our lives. If our caretakers is supposed to be the one protecting us, but instead are the ones hurting us, what do we do? Where do we go? Who do we tell as a child? For most children, they find ways to just get through it with the hopes that they are able to make it out alive and eventually go somewhere safe, wanting the physical, emotional, or sexual abuse to end, wishing that their parents had the ability to provide them with their basic emotional and physical needs, or wishing a trusted loved one was still there with them, or they had people that loved them enough to do better for them, or even wanting their fathers to stop hitting their mothers and calling her disrespectful names. But instead of dealing with this trauma, most children suppress it with the hopes that it goes away, not knowing that it is affecting their overall well-being. Due to the lack of tools and knowledge to be able to cope with such trauma, this caused a wide range of emotional, behavior, and health issues later in life, such as anxiety, depression, difficulty forming relationships, substance abuse, or chronic health conditions. If you are unsure if you have ever endured any childhood trauma, I'm going to ask a series of questions, and if you answer yes to at least one, then there could be a traumatized child within you. So, before your 18th birthday, 1. Did a parent or other adult in the household often swear at you, insult you, put you down, or humiliate you? Or did they act in a way that made you feel afraid you might be physically hurt? Did a parent or other adult in the household often push, grab, slap, or throw something at you? Or did they hit you so hard that you had marks or was injured? Did an adult or a person at least 5 years older than you ever touch or fondle you? Or have you ever touched their body in a sexual way? Or did anyone attempt to or actually had oral or vaginal intercourse with you? Did you often feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were important or special? Or did your family not look out for each other, feel close to each other, or support one another? Did you often feel that you didn't have enough to eat, had to wear dirty clothes, and had no one to protect you? Or that your parents were too drunk or high to take care of you or take you to the doctor if you needed it? Were your parents ever separated or divorced? Was your mother or stepmother often pushed, grabbed, slapped, or had something thrown at her? Or sometimes kicked, bitten, hit with a fist, or hit with something hard? Or ever repeatedly hit over at least a few minutes or threatened with a gun or knife? Did you live with anyone who had a problem drinking or was an alcoholic or used street drugs? Was anyone in your household depressed or mentally ill, or did they attempt suicide? Did a member of your household go to prison? Were you in foster care? Did you experience bullying or harassment at school or work? Did you live with a parent or guardian that died? Were you separated from your caregiver or parents by deportation or immigration? Did you have a serious medical procedure or life-threatening illness? Did you grow up in a neighborhood where you seen violence? And were you treated badly because of your race, sexuality, place of birth, disability, or religion? If you said yes to at least 4 of these questions, you are more likely to develop learning and behavior problems and are at a greater risk of health issues such as heart disease, cancer, and other type of illness in the body. This is due to the unhealed long-term effects of childhood adversity. Again, if you lack the proper tools and support to work out this trauma as a child, this childhood trauma and suffering is still carried within you. Undealt with trauma leads to substance abuse, violence, incarceration, and mental and physical health problems. Remember, energy does not die. It stays within us unless we move it out by dealing with it. And those who have the resilience and strength to overcome childhood adversity still ends up getting sick by having strokes, cancer, or heart disease. I've scored a 10 from the questions above. Ever since I was little, I tried to do everything I could to overcome what I was being dealt with. And finally, once I felt everything was falling in place for me as an adult, I ended up getting an incurable cancer. Literally at the time where I thought things could now flow a bit easier. But just because I overcame childhood adversity doesn't mean that I dealt with it in a healthy way. I did what I could to continue to move forward and improve my life, but the childhood trauma still lived within me. When we are younger, adults tend to think that we don't understand or remember the traumatic experience that we endure. So in return, we don't talk about it or receive the necessary treatment. Instead, we grow with that unhealed trauma, allowing it to direct and lead the way we think and behave in this world. And so, since no one is there to help us make sense of the events that occurred when we were younger, we tend to give our own meanings to the things that happen to us instead. We also create certain survival tactics of our own by shutting down, being silent, and isolating ourselves or acting out for attention. When we experience abuse when we are younger, it changes our behaviors and the way we think. As the years progress, certain things will trigger those same feelings and emotions and will cause us to repeat those same damaging behaviors because we don't realize it has now become who we are. And we tend to go back to these same damaging tactics because it was the tactics that we used to protect ourselves from the trauma to help us cope with it. It was a survival tactic. What was good for us in one season could be harmful to us in another if we don't deal with the issues at hand. But it's always important to keep in mind that our parents more than likely still carried a wounded child in them, unable and incapable of giving you what you need because they never received it for themselves. They continue to live their lives out of their trauma because they themselves did not know how to cope with their own traumatic experiences as a child. So that unresolved trauma is passed down to their children and so on and so forth until someone makes the conscious decision to heal their wounded child. Children tend to be more empathetic, so they can easily pick up on their parents' emotions, whether negative or positive, without them even knowing it. All the fear, anxiety, depression is felt by children before they have any understanding of what it is that they need to be worrying about. And that's how generational trauma is passed down. And this childhood trauma can sometimes leak into our adult life because no matter how hard we try to go on, there is still a traumatized child living inside of us. We all have our own experiences, and these experiences have affected us in our own particular way. I want you to take some time to reflect on the trauma that you've endured as a child. Try to remember some things that you've done to protect yourself or shield yourself from the trauma. How did you deal with it? Did it alter your way of thinking and believing? Are you still holding on to those old tactics? And I'm going to be honest, this is going to hurt and be uncomfortable because you are remembering all the hurt and pain that you've experienced when you were younger by the people who were supposed to love you. But you have to acknowledge it to continue forward to heal it.